Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So, wasn't planning on making a video tonight, but all three Evo Cups we got results for all at once. Thanks to Digimon Card Game English version Facebook page, they put out all three tournaments top 8 decks. So I wanted to go ahead and take a look and let's do a meta analysis video for the first large scale tournament for BT6. Don't forget our memory marker this month is the Egg of Miracles here for all of us Golden Armor Digimon fans. This thing is our Patreon reward for the month of November, so just a little bit of time left if you want to get one of these awesome handmade memory markers. This was hand sculpted by my wife and we did a resin cast of it. It glows really brightly when you shine a light through it. It is super awesome. This is our first rough draft of the from the mold, so looking pretty sharp. Also, if you'd like any of our previous memory markers we've had on the channel, check the coffee link in the description below, and there you can see all of the previous memory markers that we've had, and go ahead and order those up for you. So jumping right in here, looking right off the bat, first things that come to mind is Jesmon. Of course, we expected Jesmon to do well. First place here, and this is for the Oceania. They got Jesmon took it there, and then here in Latin America, we see Gabumon took it, and then again, Jesmon takes it over in Europe for France and Spain. So we expected in our meta prediction video that Jesmon was going to be most likely at the top, followed shortly behind by Gabumon, and that's pretty much what we saw right there just based off the first place decks. However, I went ahead and compiled all the top 8 decks of each tournament. This is only top 8. I only want to see the best of the best. I don't want top 32. I want top 8. And this is a list of all 3 tournaments' top 8s, all combined together. And actually, to a surprise, Gabumon had the highest turnout. So out of 24 decks, 9 of them were Gabumon. So that's a pretty big chunk of it. I mean, we're sitting at just over a third of the meta is Gabumon. And I mean, that's a little bit more than I expected. I expected it to sit more like the 25%. Part of me was thinking we would see Gabumon 25%, Jesmon, Security Control, and Musketeers, like an even kind of split between all of them. It was either that or we were just going to see like a 50-50 of Gabumon and Jesmon. So I am excited that it is as diverse as it is. It could have been a little bit more diverse, but you know, this is still okay. I've played in much worse metas in other games as well as in this game in the past. So I'm okay with where it's sitting. This is still early on, so we haven't had a whole lot of testing, you know, those really crazy decks that come out of nowhere and then take the meta by storm and completely flip it on its head. We haven't been playing enough yet to get to that point, but I think there's still time. Next, we got Jesmon at 5 of the top 24 decks. Only 5, a bit of a surprise there. Security Control at 2, Agumon at 3, and Musketeers only at 2. And then we had a couple of just one-offs here. We had D-Brigade, Lilith Loop, and Blue Rookie Rush, just pure Blue Rookie Rush. Also this Lilith Loop, we'll take a look at it, but it is pure Lilith Loop. Lilithmon is the only mega in this deck. It is insane. But yeah, honestly, it's still a pretty diverse meta, I would say. Yeah, this Gabumon is a little bit big, but after this weekend, seeing that Jesmon took 2 of the 3 tournaments by first, you know, we'll probably see a shift, a little bit of a growth in Jesmon, and a little bit of shrinkage in Gabumon. So these will probably even out, I would say, by middle of next week. Everyone's shifting around, and like I said, people are still testing a whole lot of different theories, so we still have plenty of time and plenty of changes. I am also excited that Agumon did as well as it was. We're basically in the 3rd place spot. Probably should have switched those, but yeah, Agumon's doing pretty well for itself. But let's go take a look at those decks and really kind of see a lot of the similarities of what was going on here. So this is one of the first place decks, and a whole lot of what we were expecting to see. I'm also super excited that a lot of the Jesmon decks I was seeing top these events were kind of along the lines of what I was saying in my deck profile. If you haven't checked it already, link in the description below. I'll also pin it in the comment section. But my Jesmon OTK, only Jesmon in the deck as your mega. No secondary mega. A couple of these we'll look at, they do have a secondary mega, but like only like a single one. But most of them were only playing Jesmon as the mega. And then we got the 2 Omnimons here, the 2 Blitz Omnimons to close out the game. And really, really great stuff. So super excited to see that a lot of the theories that I was coming out with, that other people were also seeing a lot of the same stuff, and really we all kind of flocked to this same cohesive idea of Jesmon is what you want to see. You're playing a Jesmon deck, you need Jesmon. Other megas don't matter as much. So really cool stuff. A lot of other stuff that we'll see here in these Jesmon decks is that I was kind of surprised at the number of Gilmon. So no one went for the Gallantmon, right? I was kind of surprised. There wasn't really any Gallantmons. I know a lot of people were being very boisterous about Gallantmon is, you got to include Gallantmon. He's so good and blah, blah, blah. And I just was like, nah. Like, I tried it, and the Warp Digivolve with Gilmon was never worth it. You'd always pass your turn with it. Wasn't worth it. But we do see the Gilmon in here, and I think that's because of the Inheritable. The Inheritable is, when an opponent's Digimon is destroyed on your turn, you get to draw one. That's really, really good. Now, for us English, or us U.S. players, I should say, that don't have our decks yet, what I have actually, earlier this week, before I even saw these results, I switched to this promo Biomon. This is the 0.0 promo, and this is basically the same thing as the Gilmon, just not quite as good. It's when you attack and destroy a Digimon your opponent has and survive, you get to draw one. So essentially you're going to get the same exact use out of it that you're going to get with the Gilmon. But yeah, I just thought that was really, really interesting and really cool. Again, just a random tech thing that I was like, oh yeah, let's do this. And then like tons of other people were all like immediately on it, like before I can even say anything about it. So that's really, really awesome. So we're just seeing a lot of like OTK power. In this build, we see the 1 Blitz Omnimon, but then they went with the 1 Agumon. In my builds, I'm doing 2 and 2, just so you can ensure that you'll get one of them. I guess in mine, you ensure that you're going to get one of each of them. And then this, they just need to see one or the other, which, I can totally respect. So yeah, a whole lot of just kind of on-the-nose stuff here. Now, this was the other first place Jesmon deck, and they were running the 1.0 Wargreymon, and this is like the only one that I've kept going back to as a great secondary mega, just because you can turn off options in a meta where you expect a whole lot of security control. Wargreymon is going to be great, so I think he is definitely a solid choice. I know that one of our resident US players, Dan Vang, he actually topped a store championship using Jesmon himself, and his secondary mega as was a 1 of Wargreymon, just because it's so good. You're going to get multiple security checks. You'll have his own built-in security check. You'll get another one off the Tai, and hopefully you'll get another one off the Greymon, maybe the Voltramon. But either way, you're doing 3-4 security checks with that. Turning off options is always good. Always going to be good being able to turn off options. And in this meta where basically the DP is super low, the DP threshold in basically every deck is just tanked out to the bottom, okay? So it doesn't take but maybe 1 DP buff of like 12,000, put you at 12,000, and you're rocking. As long as you can swing over 11k, you're golden. So yeah, really, really cool stuff here for the Jesmon decks. Gabumon's here, seeing a whole lot of, most of the same stuff. This one was kind of interesting. They had a little bit of red tech in there just for getting these option cards off. They wanted a delicate plan, which I can totally respect, wanting to fit this into a deck where you're trying to get multiple hits on. You go into Bond of Friendship here, and you get, three swings out of him. Having a delicate plan is pretty pretty important. So yeah, that was a really neat kind of way to go about it for sure. But here was the first place deck, and honestly, I was super shocked to see the Kendo Garurumon. In my Bond of Friendship deck, I've actually maxed out on the Lobomon. I'm actually running 4 Lobomons, but I thought it was really interesting to see the Kendo Garurumon. That 3 Evo cost, but still a very, very cool effect. 6,000 DP is pretty solid. Really an impressive deck. I am really, really liking what I'm seeing here. No search memory boost though. They went with the 3 Howling memory boost instead of the blue memory boost that digs deeper into the deck. So that was a bit of a surprise here. We do see 4 of the promo Gabumon, which this is the one that you reveal top 5, you get to add a tamer to hand. I'm a very big advocate for this one. I think that your deck suffers if you can't go into mat. If you can't get a mat on field, your whole strategy goes out the window and you suffer severely. So making sure you get your mats as soon as possible is really important. So the Strabumon and the Gabumon's digging for those tamers as much as possible. Also the draw Gabumon at a 4 of. Very, very good stuff. So it's all about dig power. So this has an insane amount of consistency in it. The only thing I was surprised about, again, was for as heavy consistency, heavy cards as we're seeing here, there's not any things that draw the Gabumon, the bond of friendship here. If you hit that off of any of these, you miss out on it. So if you can't get one to hand, you're going to suffer equally in that regards. So I was surprised that we saw the Howling Memory Boost instead of the one that digs for Digimon. But we do see Davis here, so Davis is kind of like he gets the job done as well. You can hit Davis off of any of these guys and then play the Davis to search for the bond of friendship. And then here we see another one, and then they did go for the blue memory boost here. They opted for that. They also went for 4 Kakaida's Breath, which is a bit of a surprise. I know I personally have been playing Rattlestar. I know a lot of these other decks in here were playing the Rattlestar, and that really gets the job done most of the time. But going for 4 Rattlestar and 4 Kakaida's Breath was a pretty shocking thing to see. But hey, it got on 3rd place, so clearly they were doing something right. Also, we see another Kendo Garurumon. So there's the 4 Lobomon, like I was saying that I was running, but then they also went for the Kendo Garurumon. So a lot of people seeing what's going on in like BT7, and they are just kind of, hybrids. Hybrids are like the future of this game, coming out in BT7. I know we just started BT6, but seeing that it works so well in BT7, a lot of people are already opting in to go a little bit more heavy into these hybrids, especially in a deck that runs, as many tamers as the Bonds decks do. So going hybrid heavy definitely does make a lot of sense. And then here we see a security control deck. For the most part, pretty cookie cutter. I've covered security control on my channel as well. A whole lot of what you're seeing here is a whole lot what I was doing as well. The only surprise was the Sakuyamon here, and this is the one, if they promote up out of raising, they get the minus to security, which this is a great counter to like Jesmon. Jesmon's going to promote up, and then they're going to swing and try to OTK you, so this is a good counter to that. However, looking at this deck, I was a bit surprised because they only run the 1 copy of Magna Agumon. So that means they're most of the time hard playing this thing for 12, and that just feels massive. Hard play this for 12, even if they're promoting up. I mean, at that point, just they're going to possibly swing into your Sakuyamon. Even if it's unsuspended, Jesmon can, find ways around that. So a little bit surprised to see that sitting there at a 4 of with the Agumon so low. But hey, again, it got 3rd place, so clearly it worked really well for them. I definitely wish we could have asked just to see how that Sakuyamon did for them. And then another one right here for you. Again, we're seeing a whole lot of yellow-black. I know in a lot of speculation before BT6 came out, a whole lot of people were shouting some crazy, 3-4 color combinations, and a lot of people were wanting to run red and things like that. And I was like, I just feel like yellow-black is the way to go. Black has some insanely powerful removal options, and then you just need the yellow for the recovery. I've seen a whole lot of people trying to play security control without recovery in their deck. They're not playing yellow. I don't know how you can expect to run a security control deck when you have like 2 things that recover in your whole deck. So it just does not feel right to me. These are the decks that won, so clearly this is something's going on here for sure, and I'm glad to see that it's on par with what I was putting out in my previous videos to really hit it home here. We see the Edamon's foot here, but no, this is the security Digimon that gets hit in security at D-Digivolves 1. Pretty spicy, honestly. Jesmon hits into this, D-Digivolves, boom, strategy, done, over with. Completely shuts down that whole dynamic there, hitting into this guy. Even Bonds, Bonds hits into this, and they Digivolve back to their Gabumon. They're done. That's it. So pretty interesting tech for sure, and at a 4 of. So yeah, they really went heavy on this, and then they cut out the Cordramon and Geogreymon down heavily to fit this guy in, which was pretty interesting. Again, we see the Sakuyamon at a 3 of this time, but it balances out because now we can see 4 Magna Angemon, which is really good. So then this has several targets to Digivolve onto, as well as Mistymon. I was actually taking apart my security control deck the other day, and I was taking Mistymon out because I had played it in the previous format. I think I played it in BT5 to counteract yellow-green Rookie Rush is why I put Mistymon in there, and then I took it out. But now that I'm thinking about it, with Bonds as heavy it is, it's like a really heavy kind of Rookie Rush with this like boss monster that just comes out of nowhere. Mistymon's a really good counter for that. Even against Jesmon. Jesmon plays all those blocks, popping all those blocks and everything like that on their field, or when they hard play the Hookmons to dig, dropping Mistymon is actually pretty awesome. So just that as a one of, that's pretty spicy tech there for sure. All right, now take a look at the Musketeers here. This looks like a pretty standard array. You've got all your 7-cost options. You got your Musketeers options. You got the defeats, the Zorts, Millenniumon. I kind of went back and forth on Millenniumon a little bit on which one I liked. I like the 4 level 7s. Pick between those 3, and that's your good there. I think Defeat is really, really good because Defeat's going to evolve on top of, whatever, and then it's going to pop the Tamers. And I think popping Tamers this format is really important. Again, we talking about earlier, killing Matt off, really good. Against Jesmon, killing off their Memory Fixer is really good. Is really, really good. So yeah, just a lot of pretty standard ratios here. It looks like nothing too crazy, except for the Agumon and the Rebelliumon. I thought these were kind of interesting to see. I did not expect them. The on play of the pop here of the Agumon and then the Rebelliumon is kind of interesting because it can also be black as well. So on your turn, it's treated as a black Digimon. So Gundramon can actually Evo on top of it as well, and not just the Deputymon. So Deputymon they actually cut down to 3 instead of the 4 of like we're used to seeing. And in place we got a Rebelliumon to replace it. So that's pretty cool. So we got the purple package that can actually Evo all the way up. Got a Skull Greymon in here as well. Some great discard fodder for sure. Being able to throw that underneath a like a Valmon for a blocker with retaliation is brutal. So yeah, the Rebelliumon was a bit of a surprise, but pretty nice. Again, he becomes a blocker with retaliation with his ability, so he's just gonna sit there stall for a turn, and then next turn, you're gonna Digivolve like a Gundramon on top of him, and then do all your Gundramon shenanigans. So pretty cool stuff. And then here was just one of the other ones. Again, a lot of the same stuff going on here. We see the Rebelliumon, we see the Ogremon, really, really spicy stuff. Beelzemon. So if you saw my Musketeers profile, I threw in Beelzemon just because I love Beelzemon. Any chance I can get to comfortably put him into a deck, I always do it. So because you play so many Impmons, right? You play the new Impmon that's going to recycle back your stuff. You play the old Impmon because on deletion, he mills so many cards to the trash to make your Beelstarmon super live and get it, into play and rotation so much faster. So with all these copies of Impmon in your deck, absolutely play some Beelzemon. So I'm glad to see that topped 8th place, barely squeaked in there into top 8, but hey, I'm happy to see it nonetheless. And then here, just want to show that Lilith Loop deck just real quick. Pretty interesting overall. So a lot of the ratios are a little bit lower than what you normally see. You see 1 less level 4 here. This is 1 less rookie. We see 2 less level 5s. And, 1 or 2, depending on how you build. I build for 9 these days. I used to build for 8. And then only 4 Lilith. And that's it. And then you got your 3 Zwarts here, 3 Takumi. So Takumi's going to help you draw. So you got to make sure you stay on top of your draws. Your purple memory boost. This is just going to help you dig. You need your Zwarts for sure. But then you need your Lilith. If Lilith is the only Mega in your deck, you need to be able to get your Lilith as soon as possible. So 4 purple memory boost here makes a lot of sense. Also cuts down the need for a memory fixer, right? You only need 1 turn to really pop off. And just having that purple memory boost sitting there until that turn when you would need typically a memory fixer, yeah, that's pretty awesome. I definitely like seeing that instead of running like Minoa here, which is what I did in mine. Memory Fixer that was white, so that way we could play our Mega Digimon Fusion. This kind of combination here makes a lot of sense. Awesome. Really, really cool stuff. Here we see a D Brigade deck, the yellow-black D Brigade, like Rookie Rush style deck. Pretty spicy, honestly. Pretty shocked that we don't see a Tank Dramon here in the level 5 slot. No level 5 at all. So they were just completely relying on the Commandramon here, the on-deletion Commandramon, to pop off with all these other ones. So, very risk-reward heavy. But then they countered that, with all these yellows. So you got, the Pulsemons for the draws, the Starmons, and then the Falcomons just for that 2-play cost. And then, of course, you're going to see the Spiral Masquerades. All these rookies, of course, Rookie Rush is going to be playing Spiral Masquerade. So not really a whole lot of new stuff here. We see the Nanimon security Digimon. He gets to just pop out. 3-play cost otherwise. And then we see the Iron Fist Onslaught just as a one-of, when you need to remove that one big threat off field that you just cannot handle with Spiral Masquerade, just take it off with this. So, yeah, another surprise deck that I honestly did not see jumping out. Here's that Rookie Rush deck that I was talking about. So it's basically a Gabumon deck, except for instead of the other mat, we have the old mat here that's going to get you a little bit of extra bonus memory. And then no Mega. So they just kind of bump the numbers up, basically. They're running more rookies than you would normally run. They're running more of the hybrid Digimon. So again, we're seeing more hybrids come into play. Like, wow. Tons of these options. Absolute Blast. Wow, what a card. Like, I honestly would not have expected anyone to play this. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. Again, Howling Memory Boost as opposed to the Blue Memory Boost to search stuff. This is really good for, shutting down blockers, that sort of thing. So also turns off, big swings. So I definitely see why it's played. It's not like it's a bad card. In my deck, I play both this and blue for digging. We see the Cordramon for some extra draw power. Even if this card doesn't hit in security, playing it for 6, there's plenty of situations, your Memory Fixer is going to put you to 3, and then you don't have any other play except for drop a Cordramon, put them to 3. They had a Memory Fixer anyway. We're going to go to 3 regardless. So playing that for 6, draw 2, there's situations where that comes up, a 6-play cost, and you actually don't net like a disadvantage off of it because of too much memory or anything like that. So yeah, just the Kendo Gabumon here at such a high count in a lot of decks too. I was surprised at how many decks we've seen with it in there. All right, and then the last one I want to cover is the Agumon deck. So first up, a hybrid. A hybrid took 6th place. A hybrid Agumon Bond of Bravery. If you saw my deck profile of this, this was the one that I leaned into the most. It's going to be the most fun to play, and the fact that out of all the Agumon Bond of Bravery decks, this was the one that did the best in 6th place. So really cool stuff. We see the promo Agumon, of course, to go with the Ancient here. That's a ton of hits. Works well with the Marcus. The Marcus also working great with this the Greymon, the Security Attack +1 Greymon. If you've seen my deck profiles where I talk about this guy, it's absolutely insane. In the must-have cards, before BT6, this was on my list. The price of this card has literally quadrupled. A friend of mine, we actually looked at it because I told him about it way back when we were still playing like mid BT5. I was like, hey, this is a really cool strategy. I know you want to play Agumon Bond of Bravery. You should definitely look into getting this card. And I, explained that, with the meta like it is, look at these decks. You're not going to see anything in security over, 5,000-6,000 DP besides the 4 of Boss Monster of whatever the deck is. So besides that, you're golden. Absolutely. So swing in with a Greymon at 7,000 and you're clearing everything you hit into. And if you don't clear it, the worst you do is lose a level 4 that you played 2 memory to Evo into, rather than swing in with your big stack and losing it. So yeah, this thing quadrupled in price. So every Agumon deck, like Bond of Bravery, absolutely would be running this guy. And then, a couple other surprises here. So we see Agumon Expert for the recycle. You're probably going to be wanting to recycle this. This is your main one that goes into Bond of Bravery here. As well as, all these other Agumons. It works phenomenally. We see the Agumon here. This is the Black Agumon, the 2 play cost, 1 Evo. You never want to Evo, but 2 play cost Agumon. really big surprises here that I did not expect to see. Greymon, a security Digimon in this deck. It makes sense. I see why it's there, but it's still a surprise to see. So really cool stuff. Lots of removal too. 4 Gaia Force and 4 Atomic Blasters. Like, easy, guy. Pump the brakes. You're jumping into security control territory here. No, but that is, good for them. It seemed to definitely work out. That's just very interesting to see this deck. I think it was very unique. But the other Bond of Bravery deck was this one right here, which is a little more classic, what you expect. We see the security Greymon here. We see the Geo Greymon. This Greymon is a bit of a surprise. It's the one that reduces his Evo cost when he goes on top of an Agumon. Okay. Definitely an odd choice, I would say. 4 Agunimons. Wow. But it kind of makes sense to me because in my decks, I play 2 of this and 2 Blitz Greymon or Blitz Omnimon in a lot of my OTK decks. If I can't run an Omnimon because you have no targets to Evo on top of, playing 4 Agunimon kind of makes a little bit of sense, and you can always just Evo it onto one of your Agumons for a little bit of extra draw power. So yeah, it makes sense. I really like it. The Magnadramon with a Bonds deck, we've seen it before, but I think this is the first time I've seen it actually do well, and because that's a lot of memory to give for just 2 recovery in a non-security control deck. But again, when it's not necessarily security control, but the Gaia Forces and the Atomic Blaster in force in both these decks, it kind of makes sense that it still works with Magnadramon. In the Bonds, they hurt you so much that being able to balance back with or bounce back, I should say, with the Magnadramon, I definitely understand why. And that's going to close us out for our meta-analysis for the beginnings of BT6. Like I said, I do expect it to change a little bit. We'll see how much it changes in the future. Some of these numbers will definitely always be in flux. Every tournament we'll see a shift in what's popular. I expect a lot of these decks to be equally, spread out among this tier ratio. A lot of people are going to find some stuff down here in these lower categories that are in small numbers right now, but they're going to find a way to break them, and it completely just shuts these other ones down, and we'll see it. It'll get there. Someone out there is working on it already. I guarantee it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you would, please like the video and subscribe. Just a little bit of help goes a super long ways. It helps the channel out tremendously, gets my videos out there, gets them seen. And if you really want to support the channel, check out the links in the description below. I'll have a link for my Patreon, which is displayed right here. You can get access to my Discord server that I have, as well as you can get the memory markers that we've had. These are just a few of my favorites from the past that we've had. The current one, Impmon's baby, as well as Gabumon's baby as well, Sunomon and Yamon. These guys are super adorable. I definitely love them so much. And every month a new one changes out, so make sure you check that out. As well as we have our new playmats. This is why I recreated this video. It's because our playmats are here finally, and they are super cool. I alternate between the black and white every single month for whoever wants to support this tier, as well as I have a tier just higher than that, so that way you don't also have to lose out on a memory marker. You can get both the memory marker and the playmat just in case you want both. Super awesome support from everyone that has supported in the past and who will support in the future. You guys are awesome. Also, if you want to check out my merch, my Teespring link is in the description below for that. We've got the shirts that I wear on the channel that has the logo across. I love when I see people representing my merch in public. It is like one of the coolest feelings I've ever had in my entire life. Very awesome. As well as phone cases for you people that love Digimon like so much like I do. A friend of mine custom made all these to fit these specific phone cases themselves, so the prices are a little bit higher just because I have to pay her back, as well as make a little tiny bit of profit because of how much unfortunately they take for their cut for Teespring. But like I said, if you can't do any of that, please just like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every time we hit a new mile marker for subscriptions, I give out free merch of all different types. 2000K, I think we're doing one of the playmat giveaways, so definitely be subscribed and ready for when that comes.